Pride Month. That's a damn good intro if you ask me. Ooh. Oh, damn. Wow, God really decided to curse me, didn't she? So welcome back to my channel. Today, I thought I'd do a video on Pride, considering it is Pride Month. Halfway through Pride Month, but I'm not that organised, so we'll go with it. But as you can tell, I've got in the festive spirit of Pride. And yeah, I thought today I'd just have a little chat about what Pride is and why Pride is so important, especially in 2020, because it's been one hell of a year. I'm gonna have to ditch this. I am burning. Woo! So a good place to start with is what is Pride. So Pride is the celebration of self-affirmation and equality within the LGBT community. So in short, we're here, we're queer, we want equal rights. It's something that we've generally celebrated every June since 1969 is the anniversary of the Stonewall riots. There's a link in the description about that to find out more about those. And it's something that a lot of cities hold nowadays. Some of the really big ones in the UK are like Edinburgh, London and Cardiff, but a lot of cities across the UK hold them. And it's held by a lot of countries across the world, and it's kind of like this nice unifying feeling, a nice international unifying feeling that we're all in this together. High School Musical. And we're just, you know, queer, celebrating our existence and saying, please, can we have some equality? One of the reasons why Pride is so important is that generally, not just in the UK, but across the world, equal rights haven't always been a thing and still aren't a thing. In the UK, we didn't have equal marriage rights till 2013, and even that was after 7 years of only having civil partnership. Gay people have only been really allowed in the military since 2000, when that got repealed, and even now there's still massive problems with the UK government, the UK politics, and LGBT equality. Recently, in sort of the past week or so, Prime Minister Boris Johnson has been looking at sort of taking out some reforms from the last administration about whether people are allowed to legally be seen as their gender of choice, or, you know, personal gender, if they haven't had surgery or they haven't had hormones. A lot of this is in relation to females, like female toilets, and trans women, and, you know, if they've got the wrong anatomy, they're not allowed in a female toilet because of predators, and all those sorts of things. And also changes to what's called the GRA, the Gender Reform Act 2004. And basically there's been a lot of problems in this country. Not only this country, there's also major problems in the States right now with Donald Trump and his discrimination, and, you know, LGBT couples shouldn't be allowed to adopt and everything. There's I'll put some really good links about all of this in the description to read more about this. And there's also going to be a separate video on conservatives in general, and LGBT equality. But yeah, I think that's one of the most important things behind Pride, is that we're asking for equal rights, and a lot of times we don't get them, or they're equal but unequal. You know, like, oh, you're entitled to have the same level of marriage, but, you know, a gay marriage isn't necessarily seen as equal to a straight marriage. And, you know, bathroom choice is a really big one. You know, as a trans guy, I should be able to just go into a male toilet and not feel that I'm going to get harassed, not feel that I'm going to get judged for being in there, you know, get shouted at for being in there by other men. And, you know, trans women should feel they can go to a female toilet without being seen as a predator, you know. And it is about promotion of equality that we just don't have. And I think that's why Pride is so relevant still. Because people are like, why is Pride relevant in 2020? You've got rights, you've got what you want. No, we haven't. And I don't just speak for myself. You know, I know that other people feel this way. And I just feel that on a personal level, that's why Pride is so important to me, is that I want to have equal rights to be who I am, and I don't feel that a government or another person should have the right to turn around to me and say, well, you don't deserve that, you don't get that. You know, you don't get that when, I don't know, Dave from down the street does. You know, all we want is rights. We don't want much else. Just equality across the board would be really, really nice. Another reason why Pride is so important to the LGBT community is that it's not just national, it's international. I think early this month or back end of May, Costa Rica became the first Central American country to legalise same-sex marriage, and the first couple to get married, they live streamed their wedding. It was really nice, and it's nice to know that slowly change is happening, and ultimately is a consequence of Pride in other countries. You know, we're not only pushing for our own equality in our own countries, regardless of where, but we're raising awareness of other people who are having issues in other countries. You know, I think it's about 70 countries around the world it's illegal to be gay still. It's about 10 where it's punishable by death. You know, a lot of countries you're not allowed to live as your identified gender, you have to live as a sex you're born as. And, you know, if I can live as openly as I want without much, you know, retribution for it, essentially, you know, I want to fight for people who don't have that, who would struggle to, you know, live their life. They want to change their pronouns, they can't, because if they do, they risk getting murdered. You know, they risk being disowned, being, I don't know, punished by death by the government, you know, seen as a criminal. And that's one of the, not beauties of Pride, but one of the main things of Pride is it's not just about us, it's about everyone. You know, everyone has their own national issues, and it's about raising awareness, it's about tackling them on an international scale and putting pressure on governments on an international scale to change laws, to change, you know, customs. You know, it's political awareness, and it's political awareness for not just the general community, but for oppressed groups as well. Obviously recently with all the Black Lives Matter protests, which fully support, you know, end of the day, as an LGBT person, Stonewall was a riot. Why shouldn't this be? Also a video coming out on that soon. But it's about, you know, Black Pride as well, you know, trying to raise awareness for other people in the community with this sort of intersectionality of how, you know, someone who is black is more likely to face difficulties as not only as a black person but as an LGBT person, whereas like someone like me who's quite pale wouldn't face that. And it's raising awareness of that too. It's not just the international, it's that everyone has other things that link into it. And as the shirt says, why be racist, sexist, or homophobic or transphobic when you could just be quiet? We should all have these shirts. I think we should get these shirts. Actually, I might link this in the description too. Get yourself a shirt. Wow. But I think that's one of the great things about Pride, is that it's bringing people together. International change, not just national change. And I think that ultimately it's one of the greatest things about Pride is that, you know, it's bringing people together who might not necessarily mix, who are from very different backgrounds, and encouraging people to see past certain things that they might not see. And I generally think that's why it's so important, you know, because it's, like I said, international, not just national. And what better way to do it than to celebrate Pride, really? And that's another reason why it's just so important to everyone, every day. Pride is also a really good way for cis-het people to learn about what it is to be LGBT, and I mean any time's a good time to learn, but it's also a good time to celebrate our history as a movement. You know, starting off with people like Marsha P. Johnson and the Stonewall riots in '69, and then carrying on, it shows that we still have pride because we're still not equal. We're still fighting for similar things that she was. And it's also a celebration of that. Like, look how far we've come in the 50 years it's been, 50, 60 years it's been. You know, look at what we've accomplished in that time. You know, we have so many more rights than we did back in 69. But it shows we're still fighting for these things. And it's also, you know, a history of people who were oppressed. And that's something a lot of people are talking about now, especially with Black Lives Matter. We're talking about oppression and how governments react to it, how society reacts to it. And it's just another example of how, you know, LGBT history is something that shouldn't be like suppressed anymore. We should be open, we should be talking about it. And like I said, it's a great example and a great way for people to learn about it. I'm going to do at some point another video on LGBT history and why we protest and why I personally think, and probably a lot of other LGBT people will do, why as people from our community we should be supporting things like the Black Lives Matter movement, because ultimately Stonewall was a riot. This is a riot and we should support it. Big full stop. There we go. And I think as well, the other thing with this, with the history, is also a reminder of the things we have gone through as a community. Recently, it was the 4th anniversary of the Orlando Pulse nightclub shooting, obviously, which was a horrific blow to our community, and to the LGBT community of not just Florida but America as well, who have to deal with Trump as a president. God, I can't believe he's still in power. Anyway, but it's, you know, a reminder of a lot of different things we've gone through together, and from that as well, we can look at it as like a symbol of hope that the future is bright. The future is going to be better, because if you'd have told someone like Marsha P. Johnson where we'd be now, I personally think she'd be quite surprised that we actually got this. But I think that, you know, it does provide some hope for people that things do get better. I'm really trying not to quote Les Mis here. This is bad. But it's a good way for people to reflect and to look forward to something that is really great, and that, you know, knowing that in the future there will be some equality and it will get better for everyone. There's also the opening up of conversations that people wouldn't necessarily have. I know that this Pride I've had conversations with my family, predominantly about Black and other people of colour in the LGBT community, that I wouldn't normally have with them, either because it's not the sort of thing they talk about or it's something we don't talk about. And I've learned a lot from everything that's going on, and I think that something like Pride is a great opportunity for talking points for governments to talk about their policies on LGBT people, all LGBT people, you know, for society to have a conversation, and for LGBT people to talk to cishet people about us and our community, you know, not just us as gay people or trans people or bi people or polyamorous people or non-binary people, etc., but as part of a community that has a deep history. And I do think that opening that conversation, talking about it and educating one way or the other is a way forward for us, and Pride is a great way that we can start that conversation. You know, people generally know what Pride is, but we should open the conversation up to why, how, when, what, who, which, I don't know, other words that we should be using and talking about, and having that conversation with our friends, our families, co-workers, acquaintances, partners, kids, I don't know, anyone. Have that conversation. It's a great conversation to have. Finally, on my other reason why Pride is so important, is that for a lot of people it provides some safety. You know, it's the fact that people then know it's not just them. it's other people around them. You know, they might not know that in their town there's a really big gay community, but surprise, there is. It's a great way for people to meet other people who are like them. And, you know, I think there's this sense of belonging and that shared experience that people around you have experienced the same or similar things to you, you know, and everyone wants representation, and Pride is a really good way to get that representation of, you know, oh, that person's like me, that person's also trans, and that person's in a position of power, you know, that person's an MP and we have the same sexuality. It's that kind of thing. And ultimately, I think Pride enables it and allows people to see a bigger picture of our community, and we can start to have the conversations where we can have large conversations about representation. You know, not every gay man, there's a fly, not every gay man in TV is effeminate and white. You know, we start having intersectionality start coming into all this stuff, and, you know, making people realise that, I saw this post ages ago, like making people realise that you could be like the hero of the story, but making people understand that there are other people who are also the hero of the story, as it were. And Pride enables people to do that, to understand these things and to see other people for who they are, and I love it for that, really. Everyone wants to be represented, and it's just nice. It's a nice, heartwarming feeling when you realise that you are. Anyway, that's it for this particular video. I'm probably gonna make this part of like a playlist of stuff for Pride 2020. So there'll be things on like politics, straight pride, you know, history, that kind of thing. There might be another one this week if I can get my arse into gear and do it. We never know. But yeah, I'll put lots of different things in the description for this one, like there's some articles, there's some posts on Instagram that are really interesting. Also some charities that I think people should follow or like look into, other people to look into, and government petitions that could be signed if you wanted to. It takes 2 minutes. What else is in there? Oh, and there's the Spotify Pride Month playlist. Some are really good actually. I was listening to one planning this video. They're really, really good. Also, Instagram, Snapchat, down in the description, as well as a link for this particular shirt I bought off Etsy, you know. But yeah, have a good Pride, stay safe, watch out for Corona, support the Black Lives Matter movement. I shouldn't have to say please, but do it. And yeah, stay safe, stay at home, socially distance yourself, remember 2 meters, and wear a mask in public. Wear a mask in public. Ooh.